All right, my peeps, Morden here. I'm super excited today. Finally, the Z06 is at 500 miles. I'm getting ready to do the oil change for the break-in. Then after that, I can finally start really driving the car and checking it out. I did go ahead and purchase a few things because I decided I was going to do the maintenance on the car myself as much as I can. I'm sure that there'll be some things that it's going to have to go back to the dealer for, fortunately or unfortunately. But the oil changes and fluid changes, things like that, that's all stuff that I can do. So I've decided, hey, I'm going to do the first oil change myself, and went ahead and purchased some things to take care of that. Right off the rip, I went ahead and got the jack pucks. I did have a set from a couple prior C5s I had, but from what I understood, they won't fit. So went ahead and got the oil filter wrench to put the oil filter back on. This oil filter wrench is actually to remove the oil filter. It only works in one direction. So also picked up the PF64 oil filter for it. Got two 5-quart things of Mobil 1 for it. From what I understand, it takes about 9.5 quarts, which I think is the same as a Porsche I had. I think the Porsche took 9.5 as well. Picked up a heavy-duty low-profile jack. We did have another low-profile jack here somewhere, and over there. At any rate, but I think it was only 1 ton or 1.5 tons, something like that. So went ahead and picked this one up. It's much more heavy duty than that was. Also picked up the race ramp cribs. Each box is a set of 2. To get the whole car up off the ground, of course, you're going to need 4. How these work is the car gets jacked up, you jack it up, you slide one of these under the tire and then set it back down. So the tires of the car actually sit on these rather than you doing it from like a jack point or something like that. And quite honestly, at first I thought to myself, I really don't need that. I've got jack stands. I can just do it that way, and it's going to be fine. But then the more and more I kept thinking about it, it was like, they claim that these things are super light. All the reviews I'm reading, everybody's like, wow, it's super light. It's a lot better than having to cart around jack stands, this and that. And I was like, well, yeah, super light, that's kind of nice, but is it really needed? Probably not. No, you can get away with jack stands and do it that way, and you're going to save yourself I think it was $125 each box. But here at the car shop, we'll use them for lots of different things, not just the Z06. So at the end of the day, I decided, well, let's go ahead and purchase them. We'll try them out. If they're as light, as strong as all the reviews are claiming, then we'll probably use them a whole lot as opposed to jack stands. This is probably what everybody's going to reach for instead of reaching for the jack stands. Now, understand, these only work when you're going to be leaving the tires on the car. If you're going to be taking the tires off the car, you need to just move to a jack stand or an actual lift and just lift the car either way. But this is what I went with for this project. We're going to try them out, check them out, see how they do. I can tell you this, when they arrived, they were inside of another box when they arrived, and they arrived individually. So this set was in a box, this set was in a box. I got whichever set first, and honestly I didn't think there was anything in the box. That's how light it was. So pretty light for what they are. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get the Chevelle out of the way, get the Z06 in here, and go ahead and get to doing the oil change. We're going to try to shoot as much of it as we can, you know, especially in this situation where we're not really on a lift. We're just going to be on these. So we're going to be a lot closer to the ground. It's going to be a lot tighter trying to get some cameras in there to be able to see what's really going on. But we are going to try to do the best we can, try and get some footage of that. If we can get the footage and we think it's good, then of course it's going to be in this video. If the footage that we get we just think is really just not beneficial and it's not going to really show anybody anything on what to do and how to get it done, then of course we're not going to waste anybody's time with putting the footage up. But if that be the case, then perhaps maybe we'll try to, on the next one, we'll try to just actually put it up on a lift and do it that way and shoot it and get some better footage for you. But we'll see how it goes. So let's get started.
Little warm. All right. The 12-inch I think is definitely overkill for this job. You know, the 12-inch is just way too much for this. I think, my opinion. But if they've got an 8-inch pair, that's probably the way to go. That would make this a little bit easier. Because you'd have another inch in height, and that's really about all that I need. Another inch would be good. Another inch would be good. In the Buick world, all this oil on the ground, we call that bleeding horsepower. I don't know what Chevrolet calls it, but in this instance, I would have to say probably some serious miscalculations on my part. The oil pan drain bolts, they look to be identical. So now at this point, we're just going to let it drain for a little while, and then we'll get the oil filter out of the way as well and let it drain. Then we'll see about putting the new oil filter on and drain plugs back in, torquing everything down, and go up top, put fresh oil in it. At that point, I actually get to go for a ride, a real ride. No more of this 3,500 RPM nanny crap. But, you know, I get it. I mean, you know, it's got to break in, and that's fine, but I just want to floor it one time, just to see. Just want to know, is it really awesome, or is it all just hype? what I'll do is I'll probably just let it drain for 10 minutes and come back, pull the filter at that point. Here is one of the drain holes, and then there's the factory filter for it. So that particular drain plug is not far from the filter at all. The other one is actually in the front, and I'll go around to the front and get a good view of that for you as well. There's the one in the front. It's still dripping. All right. Got the torque wrench set for 18. Don't know that this will fit in, but if not, yeah, it won't. So, all right. I think that got it. Just going to check it. Yes, that's it. Okay, so what I ended up having to use was a 15 millimeter crow's foot to be able to do the torquing on it. So that's something to note, that you're probably going to need to be able to torque it. We're going to move that back just a little bit in case things go crazy with the oil. I don't feel like losing the camera to it. it does look like the gasket came off with it and everything. So, and that's something you always want to check for, is that you have this rubber gasket on the filter, in which my hands are so greasy, oily, that yeah, just not gonna be able to pull it off. But that's it on there, and you just want to make sure that that doesn't stay up on the engine block. But I'll save this and box it up and wrap it up, so 20 to 30 years from now I can put a little bit of touch-up paint on it and sell it as an original AC Delco PF64, and probably be worth I don't know, $7, $8 probably by that point. Here's our new one, has the gasket on it, and we'll take a little bit of new oil and rub on there, and you definitely have to have a knife handy and ready to go at all times when you're doing this. All the safety seals and stuff, they'll slow your project down if you're not slowing it down yourself, like I am. Some guys may not do this, but I do. There it is. So it definitely makes you wonder if you're doing the right thing. There it comes. Okay. Well, great. We'll set that right there. And now Mobile One seems to have about 600 different Mobile Ones now. So, but I went with this one. Gonna do it. That's about 9.5. We'll look underneath the car and make sure I don't see anything leaking before we bring it down. And hope it doesn't grenade. Showing that it has 35 pounds of oil pressure. So we'll let it get on up to temp, and then we'll check our oil level again, make sure we've got the proper amount in it. Alright, well, we've waited our 5 to 10 minutes. We waited 7 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and check now and see what our oil level is at. Wipe it off. Looks like we are almost in the middle, not quite, but almost. And there we go. It's right at the H on hot. Total time was about 2 hours, but that was due to me recording everything for y'all and all that, so that slowed everything down a bit, and it was a bit of a learning lesson. The 12-inch race ramps for this particular job, to me it's just too much. It's just way too much to deal with just to do a simple little oil change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the 12s back. I think I'm going to order up some 8s or some 10s. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think I'm going to go with some 8s. And the next time I have to do something on the car, I'm going to see how the 8s or the 10s do and kind of go from there. But all in all, I think it was fairly simple, which really any oil change should be simple. You shouldn't have to fight the car to do an oil change on it. But one thing I definitely liked about this as opposed to the GTR is there wasn't a big cover underneath to take off and deal with and all that. Where with the GTR you had all that in the way and you had to get that off, and it just lengthened the job. But with this it was much easier, a lot more straightforward. So that's it. We are going to close the hood on it and go and enjoy it. Right from your main screen here, you're just going to scroll down until it shows you oil life. In my case, I've already reset it, but then you're just going to hit the right arrow and it'll bring you right to the reset menu, and you just hit select. That's it, and then it just resets it to 100%. So that's very nice. Real easy to do, and you don't have to do a bunch of putzing about with it.